Hello students, how are you? I hope all of you are fine and staying at home safely. In these lockdown days, self-study is the only possible thing that you can do at your home because you cannot move anywhere, you cannot go to school, you cannot find your teachers. So you just do self-study. By this way you can cope up with the time because you see all everybody know that time and tide wait for none. So after these off days you have exams, so you have to prepare yourself for the exams. So I'll be coming up with different topics from different subjects. Today in this video I'll be explaining this chapter, force and laws of motion. So let's start. Okay, so as you know, this is the ninth chapter of your science book. So firstly we have to know that this chapter is actually the extension of the last chapter, the eighth chapter of your book. The name of the chapter was motion. Okay, so in this chapter we'll understand about force, actually about force and some laws of motion. So you see topics in this chapter. We have this introduction means about force, we will learn something. Then we have effect of force. Then you have balanced force, unbalanced force, laws of motion, Newton's law of motion, then first law of motion, mass of inertia. These things maybe some of the topics are new to you, but these are very easy thing if you listen carefully. If you try to understand it, then you can easily understand it. Then you have momentum and mass. Then you have some numericals to solve. Then most important thing, this Newton's laws of motion. First law, second law and third law, three laws are there. So we'll be understanding this. Okay, so let's start with this question that means by understanding what is force. So you see, it is the force that enables us to do any work, to do anything. Either we pull or push the object, therefore pull or push is called force. Okay, you see, it is the force that enables us to do any work, means whenever you try to do any work, then what you use, this is force actually. Okay, to do anything, either we pull or push the object. Okay, so let's understand this with an example. So suppose to open a door, either we push or pull it. Okay, so whenever you enter in a house, you just open the door by pushing it or by pulling it. Okay, so another example we can take, a drawer is pulled to open and pushed to close. So in the table you have drawer, so if you pull it, it will be coming out. If you push it, then it will be closed. So this is one means example of force. Okay, that means we can say pull or push is called force. Pull or push is called force. Okay, so now we'll understand about effects of force. Effects. So what are the effects that a force can make? Okay, firstly, you see, force can make a stationary body in motion. Firstly, we can say force can make a stationary body. A stationary body means what? A body which is just standing in its position, it is not moving from anywhere. Okay, if suppose this is a box and if it is stationary on the table or somewhere, if it is stationary, that means it is not moving from anywhere. So force can make a stationary body in motion. That means after applying the force, the box or anything which it can move. Okay, so let's take an example. A football can be said to move by kicking it, that is by applying force. So if you apply a force on a football which is on the ground, if you kick it, you are applying force, that means you are kicking it, then it will go away from you, isn't it? Okay, so this is the first effect. Next we can say force can stop a moving body. So earlier we just initiated motion, now we'll stop it. Means any object, so for example, by applying brakes, a running cycle or a running vehicle can be stopped. Okay, whenever you are bicycling, what you do means if you want to stop it, then you just apply the brake. That means you are applying force to stop the bike or stop the vehicle, any vehicle or the bicycle. So next one will be force can change the direction. change the direction. Very important point. You see here you can understand it very easily, but this one maybe you will feel some difficulty here, but you see from example you can understand it very easily. So by applying a force, that is by moving handle, the direction of a running bicycle can be changed. The direction of a running bicycle can be changed. Similarly, by moving steering, the direction of a running vehicle is changed. So whenever if you are moving in a car, then if a turning comes, then what you do, you just move the steering, so that your vehicle turns, isn't it? So this is another like effect of force. Next, force can change the speed of a moving body. Force can change the speed of a moving body. Okay, so this one you can understand by this example. Here you see running vehicle. If a vehicle is running, and if you put pressure on the accelerator, then the speed of that vehicle will be increased, isn't it? And if you apply brakes on it, then the speed will be decreased. So from this we can understand it can change the speed of a moving body. Suppose like I'm giving you another example. You and your friend both are going in a bicycle. It's your friend's wish that he needs more speed. Then what you do, you just put more pressure on the pedal so that your bicycle can move faster. Okay, so from this you can understand easily. Lastly, you can say force can change the shape and size of an object. The shape and size of an object. You see from example you can understand it. By hammering, a stone can be broken into pieces. So if you like a stone is there in front of you, and if you hammer it, like if you if you hit it harder, then what will happen, the stone will be broken into pieces. Okay, maybe smaller pieces, maybe larger, but it will be broken. Okay, so that means we can change the shape and size of an object by applying force. So these are the effects of force. So let's remind. First one, force can make a stationary body in motion. Next one, force can stop a moving body. Nextly, force can change the direction of a moving body or moving object, we can say. Force can change the speed of a moving body. Okay, this one another. And lastly we can say force can change the shape and size of an object. Okay, now we'll talk about force are mainly of two types, means types of forces. So basically force are of two types, balanced force and unbalanced force. So let's talk about balanced force first. You see, if the resultant of applied force is equal to 0, it is called balanced force. So resultant is the word. When you will use it, you just use it whenever you want to say means any product kind of thing, like after the action what is the result that you are getting. Okay, so resultant is applied force is equal to 0. This is more important like term here, that equal to 0. Okay, so for balanced force, if you just relate this balanced force with equal to 0, you can understand the term balanced force easily. So you see, equal to 0 means there is no movement here, means there is nothing changed. Okay, after the before the action and after the action you will see no change because it is equal to 0. So from example you can understand it. So in the tug of war, if both the team apply similar magnitude of force in opposite direction, rope does not move in either side. So this is the example that you can from this you can understand balanced force easily. So in the tug of war, you have played also like this tug of war thing, this game. So here if suppose two persons are there and both of them are having equal amount of energy or equal amount of force, or we can say both of them are applying amount of uh, equal amount of force, then what will happen, this is if this is the midpoint, and this person is pulling it by this way, this direction, this person is pulling it by this direction. That means this person, this A, and this is what, this is B. Okay, so this A person is applying force in this direction, and this B person is applying force in this direction. If both of them are applying similar forces, then what do you think? This rope will move from in any direction? No, it will not move. That means balanced force. What is the resultant here? In this case, what is the resultant? This is equal to 0 because they are not moving either sides. Okay, they are not moving either sides. Okay, so there are some points under a balanced force that you need to understand. Firstly, we can say balanced force do not cause any change of state of an object, okay. Balanced force do not cause any change of state of an object. Balanced force are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. From the earlier example, you have already understood, like means the magnitude is equal in both the sides, isn't it? That's why they are not moving in any direction. And this is another thing, like change of state of object, okay, do not cause any change of state of object. Means like if both the persons in 2 points, like either means A in A point and B point, okay, if the first person is in the A point and if the second person is in the B point, they will not change the state. Okay, so this is the first point under balanced force. Next, you see balanced force can change the shape and size of an object. Okay, from this example you can understand it. You see, when forces are applied from both sides over a balloon, the size and shape of balloon is changed, isn't it? So suppose like you are taking one balloon, and if you just apply some force in both the direction with two hands, then what will happen? It will stretch, isn't it? It will stretch. But that means earlier maybe it is this much big, and after stretching it will become longer, isn't it? So this is what balanced force can change the shape and size of an object. Okay, so now let's talk about unbalanced force. Unbalanced force, so this is the opposite of the balanced force, as you can understand from the name. Okay, so if the resultant of applied force are greater than 0, here you see earlier one was equal to 0 and this one is greater than 0. You just remember these two words, greater, and earlier one was equal. Okay, so equal than 0 is what? Equal to 0 is what? Is balanced force, and greater than 0 is what? Unbalanced force. Simply the force are called unbalanced force. Okay, so in case of unbalanced force, an object in rest can be moved because of applying unbalanced force. So this is very important thing. Here you can understand, just like I'm giving you an example. So if I say, if this is a table, okay, this is a table and there is a brick on it, over it. Okay, so if you tie this brick with two ropes, okay, two ropes, and if you apply force in this direction and in this direction also, okay, this one is F1, suppose F1, and this one is F2. So you are applying the force, your force on this brick in this direction and this direction. Okay, if this F1 is greater than this F2, then the resultant force is what? It is unbalanced force. Then what will happen? This brick will move in this direction, isn't it? That means an object in rest can be moved because of applying unbalanced force. That means we are changing the position of the brick, isn't it? If your F2 force is greater than F1, then this brick will move in this direction, isn't it? So from this example we can understand that unbalanced force cause motion, isn't it? Cause motion. Okay, so under unbalanced force we have some points, so we'll just go through it. So what are the effects, like we can say unbalanced force can do? Firstly, we can say move a stationary object. So here in this example we have seen that the brick is moving. So earlier the brick was at stationary position. After applying unbalanced force, next one is increase the speed of a moving body. Okay, if suppose a car is moving, I said earlier, and you are applying, when you are applying force on the accelerator, like you are accelerating it, you are giving more speed, that means it is moving faster than the earlier case, isn't it? So it can increase or it can decrease also. When you are applying force, the speed of the vehicle is decreasing, so it can increase, it can decrease also. Unbalanced force can stop a moving object, then you can say change the shape and size of an object. So these things we can say, the under unbalanced force, these are the effects of unbalanced force, isn't it? Earlier, if balanced force was applied on any object, the object is not moving, it is on the on its state. Then if you see unbalanced force, it can increase the speed also, it can decrease the speed, it can stop a moving object, or it can change the shape and size of the object. So from this discussion you can understand, earlier you have learned about motion. Okay, you have learned about motion, and do you think that how this motion takes place, means what is the cause behind it, what is the reason behind it? Actually the reason behind this motion is the force itself. Okay, the force itself. So because of the force, any object change its state of motion, like if it is stationary, it will move. Okay, that means it is no longer stationary now when it moves. Okay, so I have tried my level best to make you understand about some of the important topics, like from this chapter. And in the next videos, upcoming videos, I'll be explaining more from this chapter. So stay tuned, and God bless.